As it gets colder outside, the Chiefs defense has started the season extremely hot. And we know that Trent McDuffie right here is one of the best corners in football. He was going to be a solidifying factor in the secondary for Kansas City. But we had questions. Let's all be honest. We had questions about what the secondary corner was going to be, who was going to step up. Were they going to make a trade? Were they going to bring someone in the draft? All things aside, the dust clears. And Jaylen Watson has not only been that guy to take the cornerback two spot, but he's been one of the best cornerback twos in football. This is one of the more surprising things that we could have expected considering what we saw in training camp. And then he got hurt coming back into the preseason. He wasn't in full shape, but now he has cemented himself as one of the best cornerback twos in football. I'm super excited to watch what he's been able to do, not only this season, but going forward as the cornerback two, because he's still young. He was a 7th-round pick, and we get to see this development in front of our eyes. Welcome, everybody, to the RGR Football Channel. My name is Daniel Harms, Senior Film Analyst, and today, like I said, we are going to be talking about Jaylen Watson. I have a little bit of a graph for you guys because we can see with our eyes how good players are, but when you put it in conjunction with other players, it makes things far better. Now, if you look at the top right quadrant of this graph, you will see Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, Carlton Davis, Jaylen Watson. That is the corner of the graph you want to be in. Now, bottom of this says single coverage snap percentage. How often are you in single coverage on an island by yourself? And then the top, as you get higher, that is your single coverage separation grade. Now, we know that PFF you take with a grain of salt, but this, again, the eye test matches a lot of these players. You see Trent McDuffie up there near the top of this list, not always to the right because he's playing a little bit different coverages and all that, but what we've seen from Jaylen Watson, he's high in the right quadrant. It's exactly where you want to be as a cornerback too. So if you guys are new to the channel, please take a second to hit that sub button right now. And then let's work through this film. Let's earn a like from you guys and let's dive in because like I said, I'm super excited, not just for you guys to see what he's been able to do, but how he's going to continue to develop as a player in Kansas City. Now, we got 5 games. We have 5 games, and I need you guys to all understand, as we all typically do, what the Chiefs ask of their corners, specifically their cornerback twos that do not follow, that don't have the Trent McDuffie trust factor, things like that. But this is exactly what you want from him. And again, they don't really ask them to turn their heads a lot, especially when you're in one-man coverage. You're going to be asked to wait, be patient, and then either pull him to the sideline or pull him to the safety, especially if he's going up the field. So right here, he's patient. He uses his hands. He turns around. You'd love to see him get his head around when the receiver is looking for the ball. But this is where they're asked to be. They're basically just asked to turn around, not and look at that receiver. So what he's done from a non-Trent McDuffie perspective, and honestly from what he's asked to do, he's been a very good corner in being the multifaceted guy who plays zone well, who's okay in man coverage. I think he's taken the next step in man coverage, and that's why we're going to break him down today. I looked at all 75 press coverage snaps. Typically, those will be more man coverage. You're asked to be closer and then turn and run and things like that. So I looked at all 75 reps from Jaylen Watson in that press alignment to see what he's doing and how he's able to generate what he's done this season. Obviously, he does not have an interception yet. He almost had one in this game alone. But watch what he's doing down here at the bottom of your screen. So now he's showing press, right? Showing press coverage, but he's going to be asked to do a little bit different. He's going to play more zone. So the Chargers here run a little bit quick slant with QJ and then a out route from Ladd McConkey right here. So it's that trying to get your corners in easy man coverage rep beaters. So you have quick in or a quick slant here and a quick out, trying to create, again, that separation. So the Chiefs do a fantastic job here of switching off. So you have, again, with that quick in, you're going to have Jaylen Watson down here, going to, again, play like he's playing press man coverage, and then he's going to back out and take out that slot receiver going to the out route. Very good play, a very smart understanding of what the defense is being asked. And again, he even goes with QJ right here initially and then breaks off to take away that out route. Very, very smart player, especially from that zone perspective. I love to watch what he's been able to do. And growing as a player, you're going to see a lot of guys get asked to do one-on-one situations, to be in those one-on-one situations, and how are they going to respond? We've seen Jaylen Watson since he was a rookie be asked to be in one-on-one situations because they were rotating him and Josh Williams. Right now, there is no more rotation. It is him alone by himself, and the only quote-unquote rotation is Najee Johnson or Josh Williams. But it's really been Najee Johnson as of late because Josh Williams has taken a step backward. And a lot of times, especially in these one-on-one coverages, they are asked to funnel to the safeties, right? Using your safety, using the sideline. So right there, nice job pressing him to the sideline, making this throw, even if it's going to be on target, a more difficult one. And this time he turns his head around too. He plays the receiver. You see he gets his hand on, trying to stay with him. That's what you want to see. Now, obviously, this was supposed to be a throwaway, but I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So you have the initial shoulders square, right? I'm going to take this away if you go to the inside because I have inside safety help. So first off, I have a good position. I'm facing you. You want to go around me? That's fine. I'll turn and run with you because he does a nice job here again, getting hands on and pushing him out to the sideline. If you use that sideline as your extra defender, then it becomes so much easier to guard players downfield, especially when you have safety help over the top. And he's going to press him and squeeze him to the sideline right here. And right there, he kept his hand on him. That's just a way so he can make sure and keep an eye on where he is as he's running down this route. So if he slows down, then Jaylen Watson can counter with that also and slow down. And then he uses, again, that sideline there to push Rashid Shaheed outside. And boom, we end up in a situation where Derek Carr can't get the football down the field. And this becomes an interception. This is, again, where we're seeing him a lot. In this press alignment, we want to look at him as a player in that man-on-man coverage. And you're seeing a lot of the same stuff, right? You're seeing a lot of receivers going downfield. Like, that's what he's being asked to do. And a lot of times, as that number 2 receiver, the speed guy on the outside, you're tasked with taking the top off. And because Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave in this scenario are very good receivers in that vertical sense, he's going to actually get a step on Jaylen Watson. But what does he do? He makes this a very difficult throw. It has to be perfect from the throw to the catch in order to be completed because he's right there in that hip pocket. So once again, we got that little release from Chris Olave, release to the outside. Watson stays in phase, keeps his shoulders right there. He bears with him and gets hands on him. And then he makes this have to be a perfect catch on a perfect throw. And it's not. So we're seeing the growth from Jaylen Watson in that regard. Now, against speed, this is still where he's going to have some struggles, right? He's not going to be a perfect player from every single angle. He's still going to have some issues because, yeah, there's a reason he was a 7th round pick, but this is the perfect defense for him, not just to learn in, but to develop in. And you can still trust him with a lot of these scenarios. So down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see him against Nelson Aguilar, where he's given a little bit too much to the inside, where he goes with him on that inside jab step, and then he goes forward, right? If he's going forward, you're not able to get back far enough, but he has recovery speed deep, right? Unfortunately for the Chiefs, no matter what happened on this play, it was going to be a chunk gain, but this is what you want to avoid. So here, with a little bit of a hesitation to the outside from the wide receiver, you're going to see Nelson Aguilar kind of take a jab step to the inside, release outside and up the field. Jaylen Watson cannot step forward. Can't do that. Once you step forward, you're giving yourself no room for error. He has to go inside or you're going to be out of position because when you move that way in that direction, it gives him even more room to the sideline to use his speed and get up and get down the field. So right there, you see exactly what happens. He moves forward and to his left right there. That's exactly what Nelson Aguilar wants. He's going to go right by you, boom, downfield, and he's wide open. Didn't come back to bite them on this play, but it did against the Bengals, where you see right here, it's a little bit of a different situation because he's a little bit more off with outside leverage, and he's also looking at the quarterback. So a little bit different situations itself, but what I'm trying to show is the hesitation stuff. So he's in looking down here specifically because he thinks this might be a run. So you have the running back going through the play action, then he's a little bit too hesitant to get downfield, and that's where you see Jermaine Burton just run by him for a deep completion. Have to be able to be mindful in two situations, right? So we have the previous one against the Ravens where he needed to be more patient, not step forward. This one, he's looking around at before the snap, comes through. I think the Bengals were doing more quick snaps in this game too, but you can see his head's here first, and then it's going to be in the backfield with the play action. That plays right into the receiver who's going to run right by him down the field for a big play. So we just got to be a little bit more open on this play specifically. Might be more out of context because he's not looking at the receiver until right now. And then it's a little bit too late as he releases inside. And the Chiefs are also rotating down. So you have Justin Reed coming downhill, and then they have to rotate back. So there's a little bit of rotation happening on this specific play, but Jaylen Watson against speed, where he's not throwing off the timing of the route, is one of the areas where he's going to have problems. But all in all, I do think what we're seeing from Jaylen Watson, again, at the top of your screen here, this time against Zay Flowers, once again, with that speed, he has the recovery speed. And if you can keep yourself in a decent enough position, you're going to find that quarterbacks cannot complete those perfect throws all the time. What have we seen from Patrick Mahomes this year? He hasn't been able to get all of the throws exactly the way he wants to. And one thing that I'll say about Lamar Jackson, it's not a hot take. Everyone kind of knows once he gets up and outside the pocket, his downfield accuracy is not as elite as other quarterbacks in the NFL. So right here, you see he's off platform. This should be a touchdown. If he puts it out in front of him, probably should be, but he doesn't. He puts it right on the receiver, which isn't necessarily a bad throw, but Jaylen Watson, recovery speed, is able to get there and really dig his hand into the catch point. That's been one of the growth areas that I've seen from Jaylen Watson, specifically because right here, you even see he does turn his head. We have seen growth from Jaylen Watson, growing and tracking the football, finding it, and then playing the catch point much better than he did 2 years ago, last year. This has been legitimate growth, and you're going to see on the end zone angle how he quickly turns his head around, and then he's able to fight that ball out from the catch point. So right there, you got head around, and then he's going to just, boop, nope, I'm taking that football away. So I love what we're seeing from the growth right there. You guys, I showed you the chart, and you know that he's being asked to essentially play on an island at times. That's something that the Chiefs, the DB coach, Dave Merritt, and Steve Spagnuolo want to entrust them to do. And he's been very, very good in that regard. And while we've talked about some of we're going to have one more thing that he's got to work on and still get better at. He is still young. He's still learning. But I think that he's been much better at playing with receivers, right? So right here, it's vertical and downhill again. But he comes back and makes a play on the football. He turns inside. This is more zone. So you see when you open up to the field, hips open up to the field, you're playing more zone. But you want to funnel it to the safeties, and that's what the Chiefs like to do with their corners anyway. So head around, playing the receiver, keeping his hands on, but playing a little bit of trail technique. Trail technique is when you're underneath the receiver on purpose. You're staying in that trail position behind them, and you're looking for the football. Right now, he's doing a good job of keeping his hands on the receiver and locating what's happening with the quarterback, still playing the receiver right there. A little tug at the top of the route, which is fine. Keeps him in that hip pocket, and he comes back, makes a play on the football. That's what you want. He's got PBUs. He's in good position routinely in these games. And I love that the Chiefs are continuing to put him in situations to succeed. Now, you see right here in this scenario, this is where he's going to still have to get better. I'm not sure if he can get better, but the Chiefs can do a little bit better at putting him in those positions to succeed. But what you'll see from offenses is when they have these stack formations and they motion down, what happens to the DB? Well, now Jaylen Watson has to shade down a little bit more. You get a little bit more movement from the defense. So he's got to now take a little bit of a different angle. He's shaded to the outside. The receiver is going to do a nice job of running a very good route where Jaylen Watson gets physical with him. That's what you want to do, especially with that outside leverage. But at the top of his route, it gives a little bit of a head nod right there outside, and Jaylen Watson keeps going. It's a really good route. It's against outside leverage. There's not much he can do himself because he's not man on man with him. If he was like square up, I don't think he wins on this route. I think Jaylen Watson would be able to beat him, but he's unable to get to that point. So these are just some areas that he's going to have to get a little bit more accustomed to and be in better positions to fight, because right here, it's a tough spot for anybody, to be very honest with you. Even Trent McDuffie gets beat on these like this. So it's hard to do that. But when you're carrying these quick twitch players, not just in the slot, but on the outside, wherever you end up lining up, it's hard to do. So he's being asked to play against some of the number one receivers as well. I think he's good enough to do it. And he carried Jamar Chase a couple of times. Right here, he had Quentin Johnston in absolute hell. He was all over the field against this guy. Quentin Johnston was unable to do much of anything. But see how he's going to back him up. So Johnston's going to attack the outside, and you can actually see that Jaylen Watson initially kind of opens up just a little bit, but he's staying with his hips down and fluid, so he can control which direction he's moving, where he's opening, and then he's able to break when he comes inside right there. Boom, he stays with him, deflects this, almost gets intercepted, but that's just how good Jaylen Watson has been. He's seeing how receivers are running their routes, and he's getting to the point now where he's able to really take advantage of it. And here, this is just understanding where your help is. So he plays underneath the receiver's route because it's going to be a little bit of a post go right here, or sorry, slant and go where he's sluggo right there. Boom, boom. So he just waits on it because he knows he's got help downfield. That's just, again, understanding what you're asked to do and what the defense behind you is asked to do. So plays the receiver here, turns to the quarterback. Boom. All right. Almost has an interception right there. So I'm a big fan of what we are seeing from Jaylen Watson right now. He's done a fantastic job of developing as that number 2 corner and stepping up. Obviously, he was not in shape coming into that last preseason game, but at the end of the day, he's continuing to do this. And what we're seeing from Jaylen Watson with Trent McDuffie is one of the best cornerback duos in the NFL. And that's going to be big, not just for this rest of the season or this next game, but for the future, because they're both young. You're not going to have to pay Jaylen Watson that much money to keep him in Kansas City. And look, Trent McDuffie's going to get paid. So if you can lock these guys down for the future, your defense, as what we've seen with Steve Spagnuolo, Dave Merritt, is going to be in good hands. The development here for corners is one of the best places in the NFL to find it, and they're continuing to churn out young, really good DBs that fit exactly what they want, and Jaylen Watson is the next guy in line. So I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown of Jaylen Watson and what he's done this season. I can't wait to see what he does as we get closer. This game against the San Francisco 49ers is going to be a big test for him, and I can't wait to watch it. So you guys, please, once again, if you're new to the channel, please hit that sub button right now. Hopefully I was able to earn a like from you guys as we look into Jaylen Watson's tape. We will have more for you the rest of the week. Gary will have a video for you guys on Thursday. Ryan and I will be back on Friday for the game plan against those same 49ers. And then we will see you guys after the game on Sunday for the post-game breakdown. Have yourselves a great